Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you've been well. I'm out here camping with Talon.
What's up?
Been hanging out in his van quite a bit because it's been raining most of the time we're out here. The clouds are, we're getting a little break from the rain. So we're gonna do this video I asked if you guys wanted to see for a while, basically about my camera gear, the stuff I use to make videos and photos and what you see on Instagram and YouTube. And since I'm out here with Talon, I figured we would just do a video covering the gear that we both use. There's some overlap, actually, funny enough. We use a lot of the same stuff, but he has basically everything he uses because he's been living out of his van. So really, legitimately, anything he uses to catch video or photo is right here in this little guy. I don't have all my kit. I didn't bring my drone and a couple things, but I have the majority of what I use to make YouTube videos and take photos here. So we're just gonna kind of get into it. All right, so first we're gonna get into Talon's gear, talk about what he uses, what works for him and why, and then we'll get into my gear.
So same as Mike, the main camera that I shoot on is the Canon EOS R. I upgraded to this a little while ago and I had to upgrade all of my lenses since then. So you'll see some of those in a second. I have the Rode Video Micro on top because this thing has some pretty killer audio and it doesn't require any batteries. So anything that requires batteries typically gets in the workflow a little bit too much, and this is just the easiest setup right here.
And that's actually what's right on my camera
Yeah.
right now. It is directional is the one thing, so when I'm talking from this side, it's gonna be quieter than when Talon's talking from that side, but.
Right, and we're shooting on the same lens as well. So
yeah.
Right here I have the Canon 15-35. It's what you see in Mike's videos. It can be super wide or punch in a little bit.
So this is the zoom range of it. This is at 15, this is at 35. So you gotta kind of go out to 15 when you're just holding it. Talon uses the GorillaPod a lot of times. I'm just grabbing the bottom of the lens right now, so I kind of need it as wide as possible in order to get everything in frame, but that's why our faces look kind of distorted and funky sometimes when it's like, man, does that guy really have that big of a nose or what? But that's what's going on.
My nose is that big. So yeah, I have the Joby GorillaPod 2 with, I believe is what they call their X-Ball head. This is like super rigid, one of the beefiest Joby GorillaPods that they make.
So when you see Talon out in the wild filming himself, this is what he's gonna be looking like probably.
Yeah, if I'm not just holding it by the barrel of the lens, I'll typically have this out and just kind of talk like that. This is really the only tripod that I use anymore. I do have a Manfrotto similar to Mike's, which you'll see in a second, but for the most part, I just pop this up for quick shots around the van and wherever I'm at.
Sick. So that's Talon's main camera and main lens that he's going to be using for most of the videos that you see.
Yep.
And for some of the photos, but him and I actually use our second lens.
Yeah.
For most of our photos, which he'll show here in a second.
Yeah, I'll show right now. So after being in the van for about 2 months, I packed a ton of gear and then I realized that I was only using a portion of it. So recently I consolidated everything down to this little insert right here. This is from Incase. Actually, our friend Danny from Gun DMC told us about these, or told me about them. It's just a little camera case that packs down. You can throw it in a backpack and it just has all of my necessities in here. So real quickly going through everything in here, the other two lenses that I use, sometimes I'm using a 24-70, so that'll take me from the 35 up to a 70, and then from the 70 I can get up to a 200 with the new 70-200. I saw Mike shooting photos on this lens and it's incredible. Like the size of everything, it's about the same size as the other lenses, and it's a killer lens for sure. So I'm doing most of my photography stuff on Instagram with that lens right there.
Yeah, and that is what you see most of my photos on as well with that lens. It's really good for automotive photography and kind of, there's a thing called compression when you are zoomed in a little bit more that just kind of makes shots a little more impressive.
Yeah, a little more dramatic. To go along with that, I have a Tiffin ND filter. This is a variable ND. I honestly don't use it as much as I should. I'll typically overcrank the shutter in bright scenarios because I'm just kind of lazy like that. But again, it's something that if you want to shoot really high quality videos, you should have good filters and everything like that. And then a little pouch here for all my memory cards, and I got a ton of those because this is what I do for a living. Then moving on to the other little odds and ends accessories in here. Sometimes in the van, the lighting isn't the greatest. You can get natural light here and there, but I don't like the warm tone of the lights in there. So if I'm filming indoors, I have this little aperture light right here. Has a bunch of different accessories, a little softbox type of deal on there, and it is completely adjustable. A bunch of different colors. Looks like it's dead right now because I haven't used it in so long. Definitely dead, but this is a great little pocket light. Kind of expensive. It's magnetic, so if you find something that's magnetic, you can put it on the hood of your truck or something.
Yeah.
Even use it in a situation where you just need extra light.
Use it as just like an area light for camping if you need to.
They have like different modes on it too. You can make it look like you're sitting in front of a campfire.
Oh, really?
And
so it's like flickering?
Yeah,
kinda?
like flickers, and it has a bunch of different colors. So again, expensive, but it works well for a small compact kit like this. And then over here I have GoPro stuff. This is sort of boring stuff, but I have a Session 5 here in a waterproof housing if I'm going swimming anywhere. Charging cables, extra chargers and mounts, batteries, and then I have a Hero 8 Black, I believe, which is always mounted up to the dash of my van. I use that primarily for time lapses and just like filler footage because I'm vlogging, making 3 videos a week, so I need all this extra footage even if I don't use it. I like to capture a little bit more. So other than the GoPro on the dash, I also have a Delkin camera suction cup mount type of thing. Again, pretty cheap, but also very, very sturdy, similar to like the Joby GorillaPod. Whew. So I'll pop my main camera off and throw it on the dash if I'm driving, and obviously I want to be hands-free for the most part when doing that, so I'll also use that from time to time. The other thing in the camera insert is 5 terabyte hard drive, which I keep a ton of extra stuff on. I don't keep all of the footage that I shoot because I just shoot so much. And then I got batteries, and that's pretty much it for this pack.
Nice. You fit a lot in that little thing, though.
Yeah, just a little bit of everything. I could probably have a secondary body as a backup because if that thing goes down for some reason, all I have is my cell phone, which I use that from time to time too. But for the most part, I put a lot of trust in that, and I try to be relatively careful with it whenever possible. And then for the drones. Since I've been traveling, of course, drone footage is liked by a majority of the audience watching videos, so it just adds a cool, unique perspective. This was my old drone. It's still relatively new. It's a DJI Mavic Mini. It's a Fly More kit. This thing weighs 249 grams, so it is insanely light. Because of that, you technically don't need to get any FFA clearances to do any like commercial stuff. You're not really going to be doing commercial stuff with this anyway. So this is a cool little drone. I keep it with me now in the van because it's tiny and it's good for like hiking. So if you want to throw it in a backpack and you're going on a hike, you don't want to have a lot of gear, that's great. 3 extra batteries, controller for that. And then the drone that we were just flying, it's actually out of the case right now. I just picked this up a little while ago. I'm familiar with flying the Mavics, and this is the newer Mavic, the 2 Pro, with the really nice Hasselblad sensor in there. I have some ND filters, and a Fly More kit for this, which is really impressive. I mean, this thing packs down tiny like this. Got the filters on the side, I got 2 extra batteries inside, and everything else, the remote, and that's my entire kit. Everything that I capture for Instagram, YouTube, any kind of social media for myself or for the internet, it's all done with this stuff right here. Now it's your turn. Let's see what you got going on in your kit.
Cool, so Talon's filming on my camera, but we mentioned earlier that I'm using the EOS R and the 15-35, so you can think this exact setup, except I don't have the little lens guy on. So this is exactly what we're filming on right now. Same mic, same camera, same lens, except I usually just don't have this on. This, for those that don't know much about cameras, it's mostly to prevent glare and lens flares and stuff like that. So it is protecting from light. It protects the lens a little bit as well. If you're like gonna bash it into something, you're protecting that. So a few different uses, but I just live dangerously.
That's the only reason I use that, just so I don't bump it into stuff.
Yeah. So that camera and lens body fits right into the middle of this. This is a super cheap, this is like a $30 backpack. So the reason that I do this, I put it inside of this Pelican Air. This is a 1507. It's basically shorter than the 1535, which is the Pelican Air travel case, which I also use. I just like this case. Obviously, Pelican makes awesome cases. I actually have a pretty gnarly gash in here from something, but this is a relatively new case that's not too beat up. But I have my contact info on this card here, so when I ship this or check it or whatever, it's all ready to go for traveling. And this bag just fits kind of coincidentally nicely in here. But the thing that I like about this bag is if I need to go somewhere, just pull it out, oops, and it's got straps. So I can just toss it on my back and take my full camera kit, you know, on a little short hike or something if I want to go somewhere else. So sometimes I'll just grab this bag, but usually it lives for safekeeping inside of here because all this camera gear, the Canon mirrorless bodies and the lenses, the new lenses are super expensive. So there's a lot of money's worth of stuff in here. So I like to keep it safe when I can. So this has all these little foam dividers that you can configure in a way to fit your needs. So basically, like I said, this camera that we're filming on, the body and lens fit right into here. And next to it, I have a second body and lens. This is what I'm taking most of the photos you see on IG and stuff on. This is actually the Canon EOS RP. So another full frame, but smaller, not as nice as the R. I actually have an R6 on order, pre-order, so that should be here in a couple weeks. So the R6 will replace this as the video camera because it's got in-body stabilization, so everything will be a little bit smoother. The R will replace this camera, and then I'll probably sell this EOS RP to my friend Nick, who's doing the mountain biking channel. But this has the EOS R. It's a little Canon mirrorless camera with the 70-200. This is a 2.8. That's a 2.8. All of Talon's lenses are 2.8s as well. So really nice lenses, but you know, Talon and I both do this stuff for a living, like literally, so it's our livelihood. In here I have an extra lens. This is actually a 24-105. So I have this lens. It's kind of a dual lens. It's an f4. So if one of these lenses go down, this kind of can cover most of the spectrum I need in a single relatively compact lens. So I keep that in there as a backup, but I don't use it that much. And then in this little pocket, I keep all my mic stuff. So the mic that's sitting on the camera goes in here. And then a lot of times I use these little wireless lapel mics from Saramonic. So I have this hooks onto the body, this hooks on to your body, and then it actually has two of them. So if we were doing interview kind of style stuff, I'll usually pop this on just when I want crisp audio. And then these little guys that people see sticking out of my collar and stuff sometimes and make fun of my chest hair is just, they do wonders for wind noise. So when it's super windy out and you don't want all that wind puff, they're called dead cats, so those go in there. This little pouch where I keep all my batteries. So we have the GoPro batteries on here, the R batteries and the RP batteries. Is just kind of a, I don't even know what this was for originally. I think lens filters maybe, but I just use it to store all my batteries. And then I have some gaffer's tape, some chargers, some lens filters, polarizer, and an ND over here. They got some cables here, SD cards, some business cards, some camera straps and stuff like that. So that's pretty much, oh, and I have here, this is the GoPro Max. So this is, I do some 360 video sometimes. This has a lens on the front and the back, and this is actually the camera I use for my mountain biking chest rig and everything. So I have various GoPro mounts around my truck, and that's the one I use. I also have a 7 black, but primarily I'm using this one now. And then this has the, I'm actually using the GoPro selfie stick. So this comes out, this hooks on it, and if you put it parallel, I kind of forget to do this sometimes, but if you put it parallel and you do 360, then you don't see the selfie stick at all. It has the software inside that basically
It removes the whole stick from the view, right?
Yeah, yeah. So sometimes I'm dumb and I forget and I put it on here like an angle, like a normal selfie stick, and it doesn't remove it. So I gotta remember to like put it straight out. But yeah, and then it's also a little tripod. So if I want to do a time lapse or something, this little guy goes into there. So
nice.
It's a nice little compact tripod that I use, and I just kind of shove it in there. And that's most of my kit. I do have a drone as well. It's the Mavic 2 Zoom. So it looks very similar to this, except this one, the Pro, has a nicer lens and a nicer sensor on it. And the Zoom has a zoom lens on it. So lens isn't as good, but it does zoom, so it allows you a little more creativity in shots. You can do some cool stuff like dolly zoom and get a little bit of compression. And that's most of my kit. The tripod I use, I was using kind of crappier tripods for a long time, and I've had a couple fall over, and I broke a lens once, and this one is a Manfrotto 5100 or something, or I don't even know what it is, 055.
Yeah, mine's the same, but aluminum, not carbon.
Gotcha. Yeah, so the Manfrotto 055, this is Talon's. I got the carbon fiber one, and I just have this little...
this is yours.
Joby head. Yeah, this one's mine. Oh, so yeah, to say that Talon has the same tripod, but his is an aluminum, mine's carbon fiber, and he has the baller, kind of the fluid video head, so for panning shots and stuff, that comes in handy. I don't do much of that, so I just have this tiny little Joby ball head on here. And it's just it's just easy to use, so these legs drop down, super sturdy. And it's a really big tripod, so when I'm filming stuff, some of the smaller tripods I was using were about this height max. So if I'm standing up, it's like shooting up my nose. So with this pole, obviously can get taller than me, which is really nice. It allows me to get some better vantage points for filming. So decided to invest in a nice tripod, and I haven't regretted it at all. Really like this tripod.
That's one thing that I struggled with too. I had cheap Walmart tripods, and until I bought that, I didn't know what I was missing out on.
Yeah, and it really is something. I do a little bit of astrophotography and some other stuff that really relies on keeping it super sturdy as well. So just a beefier tripod will help with all of that. It is not small. You can see it doesn't like pack down small, but I'm usually doing just like truck stuff. So I just toss it in the back, and super durable. And that's the kit. Talon and I both use the mirrorless stuff. So the Canon mirrorless stuff does really well for us because the focus is really good, the face tracking is really good, the colors are nice, it's a full frame, so it does well in low light and everything. And then the new RF lenses are really, really nice. So Talon and I both like the Canon stuff. He's been a Canon shooter for a while. You had the 60 and some more.
I started on the point and shoot G7X, moved to the T6i, to the 80D, to the 60 Mark II, and then finally up to the R.
Cool. And I am a new Canon. I shot Nikon for when I was into photography for years and years, and then switched over to Lumix when I started doing video. But that was the Micro Four Thirds sensor, and I wanted a full frame, and that was just when the Canons were coming out. So I hopped over to the Canon mirrorless and haven't regretted it. It's been really good. So stoked about their new stuff coming out also. I don't know. So that's our camera gear. I'll put links down below. This is Talon. You probably saw him on the last video, I think. I'm not sure the order, but probably the last video we did is this camping trip. So if you kind of want to see the camping trip, it's the previous video for this. If you want to check out Talon, I'll link him down below, and I probably linked him in a card up here as well. Check him out. He does a lot of similar stuff to what I do. And thanks for giving us a little peek into your system.
Yeah, man.
And until next time, guys, take care.
Peace.